Fate has a peculiar way of introducing monstrosity in the garb of a gentleman. Enter Herman Webster Mudgett, a name not known by many, but one that conceals a chilling history. Born in New Hampshire in 1861, Mudgett was an ordinary child, or so it seemed. As he grew older, his intelligence became evident, but alongside it, so did his cunning. His charm was as captivating as his mind was sharp, a potent combination that would serve him in the darkest of deeds. In a bid to distance himself from his humble beginnings, Mudgett adopted a new identity, a name that would soon reverberate with dread: Dr. H. Holmes. But why the change? Perhaps it was a means to shed his past, or a calculated move to facilitate his sinister plans. Regardless, the name H. Holmes would become a symbol of terror, forever etched in the annals of true crime. Holmes was no ordinary man. His intellect was formidable, and he used it to his advantage. He pursued a medical degree, a path that would later provide a chilling backdrop for his heinous acts. His charm and intelligence, coupled with his medical knowledge, made him a figure of respect and admiration, a wolf hiding in plain sight. In the late 1800s, Holmes made a move that would change the course of his life, and unfortunately, the lives of many others. He relocated to the bustling city of Chicago, a city teeming with opportunity and anonymity. It was the perfect hunting ground for the predator he was about to become. Holmes was a master of deception, a chameleon who could blend into any crowd yet stand out when he chose to. His charm was his weapon, his intelligence his shield. Chicago welcomed him with open arms, oblivious to the darkness that lurked beneath his polished exterior. Little did Chicago know, its darkest chapter was about to be written by a charismatic doctor named H. Holmes. In the heart of bustling Chicago stood a fortress of horror, the infamous Murder Castle, a structure that was as enigmatic and deceptive as its creator, Dr. H. Holmes. This wasn't your typical edifice. It was a macabre maze, a labyrinthine design that was the stuff of nightmares. Holmes designed the building himself, and within its walls, he constructed a ghoulish playground tailored to his sinister tastes. There were hidden rooms and secret passages, trapdoors in the floors, and chutes that led to the basement, a place where Holmes could torture, kill, and dispose of his victims with chilling efficiency. The layout was intentionally confusing, designed to disorient, to trap. It was said that some rooms were soundproofed, others lined with asbestos to stifle the smell of decay. There were rooms that could be made airtight at the turn of a valve. The building was a living, breathing embodiment of Holmes's dark desires, a monument to his monstrous nature. But to the outside world, it was just a hotel, conveniently located for visitors to the World's Columbian Exposition in 1893, an exposition that drew people from all over the world to Chicago. And Holmes, ever the opportunist, used this to his advantage. The hotel was a lure, a trap for the unsuspecting, a place where guests checked in, but they didn't always check out. Holmes's victims were often young, single women, drawn to the charm and charisma of the man who offered them a place to stay. Little did they know the horror that awaited them within the walls of the Murder Castle. The Murder Castle wasn't just a building. It was a chilling testament to the twisted mind of its creator. A place where Holmes could indulge his darkest fantasies, hidden in plain sight among the hustle and bustle of Chicago. A place that would become a symbol of one of America's first and most infamous serial killers. Holmes's Murder Castle serves as a chilling reminder of the monstrous capabilities of a man when left unchecked by conscience or law. Behind the facade of the charming hotelier lurked a predator with an insatiable thirst. The victims of H. Holmes were often those who least expected their fate, drawn in by his charisma and cunning. His most chilling endeavor involved the Pitzel family, a tragic story of manipulation and murder that reveals the depth of Holmes's depravity. Benjamin Pitzel, a carpenter with a penchant for criminal activities, became an accomplice of Holmes. Their association, however, took a dark turn when Holmes saw an opportunity to exploit Pitzel's trust. He conned Pitzel into a fraudulent life insurance scheme where Pitzel was to fake his death for the sum of $10,000. But Holmes had a different plan in mind. Instead of a faked death, he killed Pittersell, using his body to claim the insurance money. But Holmes' malevolence didn't stop there. He manipulated Pittersell's wife into believing that her husband was still alive and in hiding. Holmes then took custody of 3 of the Pittersell children, Alice, Nellie, and Howard, under the pretense of reuniting them with their father. In an unimaginable horror, he killed the children one by one, disposing of their bodies in different locations. The Pittersells were not his only victims. It's estimated that Holmes murdered at least 9 people, although the number could be as high as 200. His victims were often young, attractive women who were lured into his hotel, the Murder Castle, with the promise of employment. Once inside, they were trapped in a labyrinth of soundproof rooms and gas chambers, where Holmes could carry out his gruesome experiments undisturbed. Holmes had a knack for choosing his victims. He preyed on the vulnerable and the naive, those who were new to the city, looking for work or a place to stay. He used his charisma and intelligence to gain their trust, often offering them jobs or a room in his hotel. Once they were under his control, he would kill them, often using methods that were as innovative as they were horrifying. He would sometimes even sell the skeletons of his victims to medical schools, further profiting from his heinous crimes. His victims were not just casualties of a deranged mind, but pawns in his elaborate schemes. He manipulated them, used them for his financial gain, and then discarded them when they were no longer of use. Each victim was a testament to his cunning and ruthlessness, each death a chilling reminder of his capacity for evil. Holmes was not just a murderer, he was a master manipulator who preyed on the innocent and unsuspecting. His victims, often young and full of life, were reduced to mere commodities in his macabre trade. Their dreams and hopes were extinguished in the dark corridors of the Murder Castle, their lives cut short by a man who saw them not as people, but as objects to be used and discarded. The victims of H.H. Holmes were not just his prey, but the tragic evidence of his monstrous nature. Every reign of terror has an end, and for Holmes, the walls of his castle began to close in. Imagine a grand illusion, a magic trick so masterfully executed that even when the trick's secret is revealed, it still holds you in its chilling grip. That was the Murder Castle of H.H. Holmes. But even the greatest illusions cannot withstand the scrutiny of time and truth. The end began for Holmes when he made a fatal mistake, a misstep that would eventually lead to the disentanglement of his web of deceit. It all started with the disappearance of the Pittersell family, who were close associates of Holmes. A diligent insurance investigator named Frank Geyer was tasked with tracing Holmes's movements, suspecting an insurance scam. Holmes, after all, was not just a murderer, but also a notorious con artist. As Geyer dug deeper, he stumbled upon a trail of death and deception that led him straight to the doors of the so-called Murder Castle. When the authorities raided the castle, they were ill-prepared for the horrors that awaited them. The building was a macabre puzzle, filled with trapdoors, hidden passages, and rooms that had been built for no other purpose than to kill. They discovered rooms sealed airtight, others lined with iron plates and blowtorches. There were chutes that led to the basement where a crematorium, vats of acid, and pits of quicklime were found. The building was not just a hotel or a factory, it was a factory of death, a nightmare crafted by Holmes's twisted genius. The investigators found personal belongings of countless individuals who had vanished without trace. They discovered human remains, confirming their worst fears. The castle was not just a place of murder, it was a tomb. The sheer number of victims was staggering, with estimates ranging from 20 to 200. Each room, each hidden passage told a silent, horrifying story. As the news of the search and its gruesome findings spread, the public was gripped with morbid fascination and terror. The charming, charismatic Dr. H.H. Holmes was unmasked as a monster. He was no longer the enigmatic businessman, but a chilling symbol of evil. And so, the reign of H.H. Holmes came to an end, not with a bang, but with the chilling whisper of the skeletons hidden in his closet. His castle of horrors was exposed to the world, revealing a level of depravity that shook the nation. The labyrinth had revealed its horrifying secrets, and the chase for the monstrous doctor was on. Justice may be delayed, but it does not falter. These words ring true as we delve into the trial and execution of Dr. H. Holmes, one of America's most notorious serial killers. In the late 19th century, the wheels of justice turned towards Holmes. The courtroom was a spectacle, filled with the curious public and the press. Holmes, ever the enigma, conducted his defense, adding yet another layer of macabre fascination to his dark tale. During the trial, Holmes confessed to 27 murders, although only 9 could be confirmed. His confession was a chilling read, filled with gruesome details of his heinous crimes. But it was his claim of being possessed by Satan that sent shivers down the spines of those present in the courtroom. He said, "I was born with the devil in me. I could not help the fact that I was a murderer, no more than the poet can help the inspiration to sing." As the trial progressed, the evidence against Holmes was overwhelming. The testimonies of the witnesses, the chilling artifacts from his murder castle, and his own confession sealed his fate. Holmes was found guilty of murder in the first degree and was sentenced to death by hanging. The day of the execution arrived. The gallows, a grim reminder of the justice that awaited Holmes, stood ominously in the prison yard. Holmes faced his end with a chilling calm, his last words a testament to his unnerving demeanor. He said, "Take your time, don't bungle it," a haunting statement that echoed in the silence following his death. His body swung from the gallows, marking the end of a reign of terror that had held Chicago in its grip. Yet, even in death, he left behind a chilling statement about his appearance. He claimed that when he died, he would look like the devil. Holmes met his end on the gallows, but the shadow of his heinous crimes still looms large. Even today, the name H. Holmes sends a shiver down the spine, a chilling reminder of the darkest corners of human nature. Holmes's story is a grim reminder of the evil that can lurk beneath a charming facade. H. Holmes, born as Herman Webster Mudgett, was not just a man, but a symbol of a chilling paradox. A handsome doctor, a charismatic entrepreneur, yet underneath, a villain with a heart as cold as ice. His crimes, committed in the late 19th century, sent shockwaves through society, forever changing the way we perceive safety and trust. The very idea that such a charismatic figure could harbor such malicious intent sparked a societal shift, leading to a more skeptical and cautious populace. In the aftermath of his gruesome deeds, a flurry of media attention ensured that the name H. Holmes would not fade into obscurity. His life and crimes have been dissected in books, documentaries, and even a Hollywood film. Erik Larson's novel, The Devil in the White City, is perhaps the most widely known account of Holmes's life, painting a vivid picture of the man and his infamous murder castle. Holmes's legacy extends beyond the realm of literature and film. His life has been the subject of countless theories and debates. Some suggest that Holmes may have been the notorious Jack the Ripper, pointing to similarities in their methods and the coinciding timelines of their crimes. Whether these theories hold any truth is a matter of speculation. But what is undeniable is the enduring fascination with Holmes. His story, as horrific as it is, continues to captivate us, serving as a stark reminder of the depths of human depravity. The legacy of H. Holmes is a chilling testament to the dark side of charisma and charm. It's an enduring tale of deceit, manipulation, and murder that raises questions about trust, vulnerability, and the human capacity for evil. H. Holmes, the Devil in the White City, continues to haunt the annals of American crime history. His tale, woven into the fabric of our collective memory, serves as a grim cautionary tale for future generations. In the end, H. Holmes was not just a man, but a symbol of pure, unadulterated evil. A man who, in the late 19th century, turned the heart of Chicago into a macabre tableau with his infamous murder castle at its center. Holmes was a master of deception, using his charm and intelligence to lure unsuspecting victims into his deadly trap. His murder castle, a twisted architectural nightmare, was a cornucopia of hidden rooms, trapdoors, and secret passages, all designed for one purpose: to kill. The victims were many, their stories varied, but all met the same grisly fate at the hands of this remorseless killer. The magnitude of his crimes, the intricate planning, and the lack of empathy he displayed, all combined to create a chilling portrait of a man who was more monster than human. But Holmes's reign of terror did not go unnoticed. His crimes were eventually unveiled, revealing the full extent of his inhumanity to a shocked world. The trial that followed was a spectacle, a grim showcase of the depths to which one man's depravity could sink. His execution, though a fitting end to his life of crime, did little to erase the horrors he had inflicted. The legacy of H. Holmes is a complex one. He is a figure of fear and fascination, a testament to the dark corners of the human psyche. His story serves as a grim reminder of the capacity for evil that lies beneath the surface of ordinary men. So, what lessons can we glean from this harrowing tale? Perhaps it is that appearances can be deceiving, that evil often wears a friendly face, or perhaps it is a reminder of the importance of vigilance, of the need to question and probe, lest we fall prey to the monsters that lurk in our midst. The tale of H. Holmes is a chilling reminder that monsters walk among us, sometimes dressed in the most respectable of disguises. Let us remember and let us learn.